do know a few things, and one of the things I really know about is good music, especially that of an independent nature. I particularly like music that's been made by people that I know and love. It's like a special way of getting to know them that doesn't involve that interrogation at a dinner party. So all that to say, I have a super duper cool dude in the house, Diontae Simpson. He is just about to release an album, a 23-track album. He is my friend. He's my little brother. He is my housemate. And he recorded this album, Effortless He, in this here studio, which we lovingly call the Human Cave. Yeah. Why is it the Human Cave, not the Man Cave?
Interesting, because all forms of life are welcome.
All forms.
It's all inclusive.
What about like that wild possum? Is that included, or is it got to be human, of a human species?
Human.
Yeah, I agree. The only monkeys I mess with are the ones in my mind. You know, the monkey mind. However, you got I call it human centric person in a human centric physical space. Creating human-centric art. And I don't like to call people singers, rappers, actors, performers, painters. I like to just use the term artists, if that's all right with you.
Yeah. Because
even that in and of itself is confusing, because we always think art is something that can be appreciated, and you can create art that people don't like and that they hate, and it's still art. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? But nonetheless, whatever good art, wherever it comes from, it comes from a place of being human, and how each and every one of us has our own unique experiences, but each and every one of us has some experiences that are relatable to other people.
Yeah.
So when you handed me a PDF, 75-page PDF of all the lyrics, that I actually wanted to read the lyrics before I listened to the music, because I wanted to see how that experience would be different. And that experience was indeed different for me than just popping in, I always say pop in the tape, pop in the tape and listen, or put the needle on from end to end, which I've done, but I didn't do it until after I read through the lyrics, because I wanted to hear them in my voice. And then when you delivered them, I'm like, okay, I'm no good at this. He's good at this. Now I know why some people do this and some people don't. Yeah. Even though I felt the words the same.
There's 10,000 words too in that PDF. But I appreciate you, brother, for even taking the time out. And I know how much you enjoy diving into the lyrics and reading and dissecting what you can. Being an incredible sociology professor for the many years you've been doing it, and I was intrigued by the idea of giving it to you to see what you could bring out of it and maybe make some sense out of that. I still probably don't even fully understand, but so thank you for taking the time to do that, and I'm glad to be sitting across from you. But I do have something for us,
Oh, look, it's gonna be it's gonna be a virtual toast.
Let's do it.
I love it. Let's do it. You gonna pop the top?
You get on me for not celebrating these kind of moments.
I love it. This is a celebration of a pivotal moment in your life. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm glad to be a part of it. I'm honored to be a part of it.
Absolutely, bro.
Here we go.
Let's see what happens right here.
Oh, I'm always okay. That's usually I put my mouth on it. You know what I'm saying?
That pop.
I'll just toast from right here in my side of the world. Oh wait, what the hell? Go ahead.
I'll pour it a lot.
That's all right. It's all right. Take a sip, man. Get that.
There we go. We got a toast.
So while he is very, very well versed in the verse, the rhyme, the reason, the beat, he is not versed in champagne pouring. And that's all right, because there's someone out there that is. Cheers.
Cheers, bro.
Cheers to a very unique contribution. And I'm really glad that the way that you kind of connected the dots, because I think people see art, especially if they categorize it as hip hop. Let's say the way in which people immediately categorize something is, for some reason, there's no deep inquiry into the messaging.
Yeah.
Right? It's about the way it's presented. It's about personas. It's not about the messaging, And sometimes, and there's a lot out there that maybe doesn't have a message, right? But does that mean you don't read the lyrics? Because you can read the lyrics. That's the thing I like about it. The karaoke kind of thing with Spotify.
Mm-hmm.
You can, if you didn't catch a word or a phrase, but it's quite different than to sit with a 75-page document in your hand that's in a binder and say, which I'm going to ask you right now, like, what the hell is this man's writing process?
Yeah. That's something I don't talk about a lot because, not a lot of people ask me. Like, no matter how much, like, music I share with friends or family, loved ones, like, the people that hear it, they all just, like, oh, I liked it. Or, yeah, it was good. Nice track. But, as an artist, you want someone to pick your brain and ask you questions like, what's your writing process, or what did you mean by this, or where did you come up with the idea, or what were you going through? Like, as an artist, like somebody like myself, like I want to talk about those things. So thank you for that question. It varies, the process. It's heavily dependent on the timing, the moment, the vibe of the track. For an example, Brown Sugar Sweet was the first beat that made the album. That was the first beat that I heard from the producer who produced pretty much every track on the album, aside from the acapellas that are on there. And when I heard that beat, I have a criteria, right? That I go down the list and I check things off of if I'm even going to use it, or if it's something that I want to invest in to create too. Because I'm over the whole, like, let me just download this beat, rip this beat, and, like, spit a freestyle over it. Like, that's kind of what I used to do when I first started, just practicing and just getting my feet wet and perfecting my craft. But now I'm at a point where, I want to create music that I'm going to love from here until the day I die. Then something that I want to leave behind so that when anybody gets to meet me, or for those who never have met me, whenever my name pops up and they get a chance to listen to me, they'll know who I was. They'll know who I am if they're with me now. But, like, even later, they're gonna say, like, oh, I have an idea of who this person was, and then they can make their own opinions and have what they call that about me and everything.
Yeah, you know what they call that? They call that symbolic immortality. Because we cannot live forever. Nobody can.
Yeah,
but the art that we create, the books we write, that's, as long as it's available in some form. Obviously, things going digital, I think there's the expectation that things are going to last much longer than they did if they were like a crumbling piece of rock that something had been written on, right?
Yep.
We don't have recordings of people's songs and rituals and music until there was recording equipment, right? So by you contributing to you are contributing to the rich history of the planet. Let's put it like that. The planet, your experiences and things like that. And and if humanity ends, then it ends. Real. But at least until it does, you have something. But I really love that you said that you love what you love. That what you put out there. You love the songs you put out there. It's like something. Like when I cook, it's like I'm cooking for myself. It's what I want to eat.
Yeah.
So if anyone wants to share in that, that's fine. But they're going to eat it the way that I eat it. Yeah. Right. And like, I'm glad that they like it, but I did it because I want to eat it. So again, that's where it's an interesting time in our lives where we see people doing things that I don't think they really enjoy doing or believe in order to get notoriety, whatever they're doing, like product placement and product advertisements for things that they don't believe in. But and I hate to ask this question about anything, but I rephrase it. Like, what are some of your favorite songs of the album? What do you get in the whip and put on?
Yeah, I get in the whip, and like my go-to right now is track 4 on the album. It's called Legacy. It's actually one of the last songs I recorded, and it was actually gonna be a bonus track. And that's where I got the idea of like, okay, I can put these bonus tracks on here, because there was a handful of songs that I wasn't going to use. I just didn't feel like it fit the aesthetic of where I was going, like with the majority of the tracks. But once I had Legacy, I was like, no, this has to be on here. And then that kind of opened the door for bonus tracks. I'm like, okay, I can do some bonus tracks, and now I can use these other beats that I was not planning to use initially. So Legacy is one of those. Brown Sugar Sweet, History Repeats, songs like I'm Free Tonight, which is a jam that like I'm so thankful for, like finding, like stumbling upon that track. Like when I did, there's a vibe that like evokes an emotion, and when you sit with it and you meditate on it, you go on this journey in your own mind. Okay, but I'm the kind of artist where I'm not, my ideas or my intentions aren't necessarily for material gain or monetary gain. I simply want to create good music. I want to make music that, like I said before, that I like and that I love. And if people like it and love it in the process, then that's the plus, that's the bonus. Like, of course, I want people to like what I create. But at the same time, I'm not going to compromise what I know, like the practice that, the practice that I put into place into creating this music. I'm not going to compromise my own art to satisfy other people. And I never wanted to fall into that. So to stay true to myself, I go on this journey alone, and I say, okay, like, this is what I like. This is what I love. And I like to drop little pieces and like little nuggets of my influences in my music, because I like in hopes that people catch it, like, oh, this reminds me of such and such, and I'm like, where I could be like, yeah, that's kind of where I get that from.
Yeah, go ahead and speak to influences, because I think when I hear the word influencer, for example, that is a new kind of social media term.
Yeah,
I'm like, I mean, you're influencing someone to buy something? Is that what it is? Oh, that's what it's been turned into, as opposed to an influence. To me, is someone who has, for whatever they're doing, saying, or their very being, causes me to look deeper in myself and how I want to be perceived. I'm perceiving somebody. I want to know what I'm putting out there in order to be perceived.
Yeah.
So, and then there's also, it could be a great admiration, involved with someone influencing you. So it's not like manipulation and control, because I think there's a lot of manipulation into the minds of people when they're trying to sell them consumer products.
Yeah.
But when you're selling a message, that's not like join our religion or our group, right? If you're just sending a message out there packaged from your own voice, yet openly relatable to other people, I think that the influence is manifests itself differently. So tell me about like the influences, particularly because I know this is not the first body of work that he's put out there. You probably are up to like 120 songs or something, right? But we're focusing on this album that's coming out in 7 days on September 8th, 2023, all platforms. I forgot to put that in there, but hey, I want to make sure everybody knows that it's not out there yet. It's coming out there. We're getting ready for that to happen, to put meaning to it. So who then, in that long introduction to allow you some space to tap in, who comes to mind immediately?
And as it pertains to the album, or in general?
Influencing that's a good question. In general and the album, and they're probably one and the same because of the continuity of it.
Yeah. I would say, like, as a young kid, like, I had certain family members who were, influenced by music, who had talent in the music and rapping. And so I think it started there, where I was like, oh, I have a family member that makes music, and like I can put on the radio, throw in a CD and hear his voice. That was fascinating to me, because I always thought, like, when I was younger, I listened to songs on the radio. Like, I just thought you had to be that. You had to be a star. You had to be famous. But I'm like I can hug and kiss this person, and he's playing on my speakers in my car. And I just thought that was so dope. So it always fascinated me and interested me. And, one day I want to hear myself on the speakers too. Like, so that's kind of where that started. But we had a conversation earlier, and you mentioned in the influence on you from people that help you, determine how not to be.
Oh yeah. So just a reminder, kind of the thing that people hear influence is kind of admiration and almost like adoring the person and what they do and their behaviors. But I'm saying you can also be influenced by people who are exhibiting behaviors that you don't want to do, and you don't want to be perceived that way in any way, shape, or form. That's still an influence, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And I loved how you put that, because I feel like that has a big impact on who I am and how I am today. A lot of it is being influenced by things I know I don't want to be. And
I mean, I don't think people are necessarily paying enough attention to how they're influenced and in what ways it deviates from who they really are.
Right.
You know, it's not like these are the people that they're performing is not who they are. It's who they think they need to be.
Right.
You know, if there's anything that I want to say about like kind of the problems of today is people not just wanting to be these certain people, but not even realizing who they are because they're trying to perform something that's most acceptable, that most popular. So I know that comes through definitely in your lyrics, definitely in the diverse approach that you have to not trying to be a monotone with some little variances. But there are times when I listen to songs and I'm like, wait, who is this? I mean, I feel like there's like 10 people, 10 or 12 people on the album. I really did. I was like, who's this featured artist? And then I was like, no, it was you. And there's a couple people, which you're going to shout out, a couple people involved with, you know, the production aspect, composition, some, you know, and some voice. But just for the record, it's like 90% you, right? Yeah. It is you. So, and humble as you be, it's actually sometimes a better way to go when it's just you and to see who you bring in. So tell me about the featured artists and like even what the process was for you know getting people to see if they're interested in.
Yeah, so there's only 2 features on the whole album, and shout out to Prince of the Ghetto. That's my cousin Diontae.
Yeah. Okay.
A very incredible poet, you know, from Leimert Park, Los Angeles. His words are just so powerful, and I connect with like everything he says, and even his verse on the track. Like I had to tell him, I'm like, bro, when you spit, like when you recite your lyrics, your words, your poetry, like I feel like you're talking to me. And whenever I come across an artist where I have those feelings, like they're forever like now they're an influence.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
They become a positive influence.
They have shifted. They've shifted your perception of like reality.
Yes, exactly. And he's one of those people. And so it was important for me to get him on this album because I'm like, you have that ability. And I heard the track and I heard his voice on it. And I'm like, and I shot it to him like, bro, I got a track for you. Boom, 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 sent it to him. And he got back to me within like the next few days. And I appreciate him for that because it's not always that easy. I wanted more features. I wanted probably 4 or 5. I think I shot for that, even trying to get some female artists on the track. I mean, on the album, but that was a difficult process. I guess I don't have a big enough following yet, or, you know, I'm too like unknown. So to collaborate with like other good artists, there's that like hesitancy, like, but I just want to make good music.
Listen though, that's the thing. And I just had to put that out there is, the greater the following, the greater the possibility that the artist is further and further removed from who they are and who their message is. You know, like you said, there's a certain degree of liberation. There's a certain degree of freedom in being disconnected from all that.
Yeah.
And there's some people, that's what they are chasing, right? They're chasing what you are avoiding.
Right.
And but then for the sake of music. So when I think about that, I think like you would have to connect with other artists through means outside of the digital world. You know, like you'd have to go to open mics and karaoke bars, right? I mean, the karaoke bars, they go up there just having fun, but you can like, you know, and that kind of thing, and just networking with other people. But we'll talk a little bit about that. Maybe I might got something for you in the future. I hadn't even thought about it, but
yeah, that was a difficult process, like just being an independent artist and being unknown, you know, to the populace. Is just, I know I'm still, you know, getting started roughly, but I just want to make good music at the end of the day, and I believe that I do make good music. I do believe I have what it takes to create good music, whether it be commercial, whether it be some underground stuff, like
Right.
I can tap into these different mediums and genres, and I can really write anything. You know, when it comes to my voice and the things that I make, you know, I like what I like, but I can hear, like I have a good ear for it. So the features that I do have are the people that just came through for me. And another feature that I have is a very good friend of mine. His name is Will, goes by Billy Scott. Shout out to Billy Scott on track 16, This World, which is another one of my favorite songs. On that, I play that song a lot, and that song means a lot to me because, you know, it touches on mental health. I never really thought I'd see the day I'd be suicidal until that day came, and I never attempted, but I hit that low where I feel like I understood why people go through with it. Simply put, it felt like leaving or not existing would be far better than existing in this world. And so when you hit that place, you know, it can be very tough to climb out of, because you don't really know what tomorrow's going to bring. You just feel like you're going to wake up every day in the same old rut. And my little sister, who's at Grambling State right now, in her senior year, her last year, and I'm super proud of her for it. But that song was inspired by her because she reached out to me and told me that she was going through that and had attempted. And so it hit me pretty deep. And then I've heard that track the same day she told me, while I was sitting with that, like, my God, my sister, she's out there by herself and she's going through this, but I can't really be there for her physically. You know, I can do what I can while I'm here, but physically I'm not there. So I'm thinking about all of this and getting emotional with it. But I hear that track and that's all I could feel. So in my own like way and creative way, I'm like, okay, well, how can I reach her? I wanted to be able to reach her in a way. So I started writing, and the more I was writing, the more I was listening, I said, hey, like, my friend Will, like, I just thought of Will because I won't, you know, share too much about his own personal, you know, experiences and things he's gone through, but I knew he could relate, and I was interested in his perspective, and I knew the track would need some contrast, because hearing me talk about that for like 2 verses, it probably wouldn't have been much different, and I don't think it would have made for a good song. So I reached out to him, sent him the track. What do you think? You know, get back to me. And I'm so glad that he was able to put together what he did and send it back to me, because it for me personally, like it added the perfect contrast to what I brought, and it gave it what it needed, and it shined a light on you know, just mental health awareness and trying to help people, and hopefully that song can be played for someone going through anything, depression, whatever it may be. And that song was made for those people to, you know, to just help them through that time, because we all go through ups and downs. Like you can't really avoid it. And so that song is just for those people, and it's for us in those moments when we feel at our lowest low, to, you know, just help us get up, help us pick ourselves up, and just to keep going. So thank you, bro, for hopping on that track. Like, it's for sure one of my favorite songs that I've created today.
I have to agree. That track is really resonates with me as well. And you know, I wasn't until midlife when I opened up about my own suicide attempt. I just stuffed it in. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't want people to think I was like permanently damaged goods. I think that music can help us let go, and it can definitely be a therapeutic process. And when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about the album title and what that means, and how perception is pretty much everything, right? You're listening to a track called History Repeats on the forthcoming album by Diontae Simpson, Effortless He, coming out on all streaming platforms September 8th, 2023. No, some things take great effort, like moving a rock. You can't be like, I effortlessly moved a rock. Most people can't do that, but the things that people can do, I feel like I can effortlessly talk extemporaneously, nonstop if I want to, but I can't
absolutely
transition it into something anyone musically or anything really wants to hear. But I think of things that people want to do, being around time, effort, resources, and passion. Mm-hmm. Tell me about what role passion might play for you in your art.
Yeah, passion, that's something that just like burns deep within you, right? Something that you go to sleep on, something that leaks into your dreams, something you just can't really escape because you know that it's something that one keeps you going every day, and you know that if you were to accomplish those things or just achieve the things that do drive you and that you are passionate about, it will bring some form of fulfillment, and I think that's something that goes like people don't really understand in their everyday lives. Like that fulfillment is a real thing, and that when you let your passions die, that is a shortcut to depression and like living with what is the word? Living
like a lack of purpose.
A lack of purpose,
living in vain in some ways.
Exactly.
Why am I here?
Despair.
Yeah.
That's the word I was looking for.
Despair.
So I know that I won't, live forever. But while I am here and while I do have this passion burning in me, I know I would live with a great deal of regret if I didn't try. And by trying, I mean by trying to create the things that I want to create, that I love to create. Yeah. And music is something that I will always have a passion for. Like passion can like fade over time for certain things, but when it comes to music for me, like it's just always burning. Like I'm always thinking about music and creating things that people like, but ultimately like that I love and that I like for the people coming after me when I'm no longer here. It's just as long as I know like I left pieces of me for people to analyze or just experience. The music that I create is for that purpose, and I do so with intent to help people have a better understanding of that it's okay to be yourself, that you can do anything you put your mind to. You don't necessarily have to be talented.
I think the effortlessness is the connection that you have to your artistic flow, to your messaging, to what you like, what sounds good to you, what you think is going to be good for other people. Yeah. And in much way, as like a self-described foodie, in the way that people get excited about the food that they make, and they just keep making more and more food, and they love when people taste it and like it, but they're not concerned with that. They taste it and like it, and if they like it, it was worth the effort. So effortlessness does not mean you don't put the work in.
Right.
It just means that some things flow in a way where you're not forcing it.
Exactly. And shout out to the author Deepak Chopra, because that whole philosophy of effortlessness, I didn't learn about it until I read the 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. And the law of least effort is the 4th spiritual law of success. And so reading that passage, it talks about exactly that, about not forcing things, not trying to force people to understand your perspective, or not trying to convince people of your point of view. Right. So just being effortless is exactly that. It's just letting things just flow as they are, and accepting things.
It's kind of like floating in the water.
Right.
Versus swimming and flailing about, right?
Right.
When you're drowning, you don't want to flail about, right? It's not going to help you. You're going to exhaust yourself. But if you just surrender and allow it to flow, right, that's really all it is. And it's funny you mentioned Deepak Chopra, because one of my favorite books is the 5 Hidden Secrets Unlocking the Dimensions of Your Life. And there was and and the way he talked about people being pure potentiality.
Yeah.
Because there's no way we can remember everything that these great minds say, everything. But what do we, and I bring that back to you is that someone could listen to 23 tracks, but there might be that one track that just hits so hard that it's on like repeat, you know? And to me, that's like worth the effort of your effortlessness.
Yeah. No, you, was that a question you asked?
That was just
expand on it?
Whatever.
Yeah, no, like
I'm putting it out there.
Like even back to the favorite tracks, like Onwards and Upwards was one of the last tracks that I recorded. That wasn't early in the process. I was later in the process. Like, I was close to being finished with the project. And that's a song that I have on repeat at the moment. Like, I get in the car, I have to hear that song as well. Like, I'm listening to it, and there's times where I'll literally just run it back.
We love the beats, we love the sound, all that. We do. Everybody does.
I'm a lyrics guy.
But I'm a lyrics guy too. And if your lyrics are shit, but your production is great, I probably won't listen to it at a certain. I probably will stop listening, especially if it's offensive to me.
No word.
And I don't want to hear anything offensive. I'm trying to keep my mind in this positive place. So what I'm doing now is I'm transitioning. Oh, there's my camera. I'm transitioning into what we call
Unpack the lyrics.
So as you know, I read through all the lyrics and I put notes down. There's things that I put like fire. I didn't know what else to say. I had to keep going. I was like, fire, go back to that shit. I went back to that shit. And I know the brother is an actor. I know he's done Shakespearean shit. I was like, okay, it slipped in here. So don't let it fool you. Don't let anything fool you about what people are capable of, right? Pure potentiality, Deepak. So now we're gonna go to unpack the lyrics.
Yeah.
Because one of the many ways in which me and Diontae are connected is like we think deeply. And in order to think deeply, we have to use that symbolic communication that humans have invented, right? Language. There's nothing else. What do we have? Music is a language, right? Each verse is my form of expression with one direction. Onwards and upwards. Onwards and upwards. Songbirds and lovebirds. On earth with love first, calm nerves, plush perks, strong words must serve, long term, much worth. Trust, it could be worse. Love that ending, right? So, we'll fix that in editing. That's it. That was I didn't print out the whole. I didn't put the whole thing on the screen because it was so long. That was the longest one. But tell me, like, tell me where that came from.
Well, that goes back to the writing process, right? So when I got to the section of the beat where, you know, that piece was gonna land, each verse is my form of expression with one direction. You know, there was a halt. Like, onwards and upwards didn't come right to me until I had to ask myself, okay, what direction, right? Like, I'm like, 'cause that's kind of how I flow. I have to make it. It has to connect. So I'm like, with one direction, I can't go into talking about something else. I wanted to keep that thought going. So what direction? And what I know is onwards and upwards. So, I mean, we've all heard that phrase, but what that means to me is no matter what I've gone through in the past, what I may experience, positive or negative or indifferent, you know, the best thing to do is to keep moving, keep pushing forward. Because that's essentially, like, that's how you grow. That's how you continue to grow. And I like seeing my growth. I want to continue to grow, and I want to encourage others to continue to grow. Because I know too many people who are just stagnant because they choose to lay in the same bed of, you know, deep depression and darkness. And it's sad because it's like, you can't live in that forever. Like, don't get me wrong. I still get depressed. I have moments of depression to this day. It may not be as severe as the next person, but it's depression nonetheless. Like, I've felt it. And I remember opening up to you about it, and you've told me too, like, yeah, you're going to have your moment, sit with it, but you can't live there. And I appreciate you for saying that. And yeah, like, you can't.
Anything you can inspire people in some way to react towards. as long as no one's being harmed,
Right.
Which you definitely are not that type of person. So track 13, grabbed a really small one-liner on this, just because I wanted you to unpack this. I pray we understand. There's a lot in that, because there's an I, there's a we, right?
Yeah.
What prayer is, but the idea of understanding, the idea of wanting someone else to understand. And what do you want them to understand?
I want them to understand that it's okay to accept things for what they are, accept people for who they are, and how they present themselves to be. I find that there's a lot of people who don't understand that, and they feel like things are supposed to be a certain way. And that people, like, even my like myself, for an example, I can feel the expectations people had for me growing up, because I was a basketball player. Like I was really good at basketball. I was just a great athlete that people expected me to go do big things as an athlete. And I felt that. I felt the weight of that during like my whole high school career and all of that. But people didn't understand that there was more to me than just athletics. If they really knew me and understood, they would understand that, honestly, I want to be a coach because I wanted to be a role model and I wanted to help kids, specifically those kids who don't get that help. Because today, there's an emphasis on like the elite players and the kids. They get a lot of attention. And as far as like the politics of the whole game and the whole scheme of things, so these other kids are like getting overlooked, and they're not getting the guidance that they need. And that's what I feel like I'm here for. Like, and when we talk about dharma or purpose in life, like I feel like that's my true purpose in life, is to be there for those kids and those type of people, not just kids. Like when I was in middle school, like I had friends who were in special needs classes because I connected with them. And I've always just been that type of person. Like I don't care who you are, what you look like, what you go through, what you believe in. As long as you're a genuine human being and you're open and have an open mind. Like I consider myself like an open-minded individual. So like I had special needs friends and I treated them like I would treat anybody else. I give them love, support, and like those are some of my favorite people. Because they're just so free and they can just they can be themselves. They're not worried about material things and worried about what other people are thinking. They're just being them. And that's a way I desperately want to be every day. And like when in my teenage years, I just like anybody else, I got caught up into trying to be what I thought, people wanted me to be or expected me to be, just for, acceptance and popularity and things that I later learned don't matter at all. Like, in the grand scheme of things, it's actually more harmful. It actually harms you more than it benefits you when you could be focused on yourself and setting yourself up for success and greatness once you're finished with school and those things, because you'll already be in a better place. You'll already have an understanding. So I pray we understand, like, that is something that I pray for. Like I pray we understand. Yeah, I just pray we understand.
I think you really, you definitely,
you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like, yeah.
And I think the reason I pulled that is I just wanted to, I wanted people to hear your take on being an empathetic person, having empathy, and empathy is understanding, right? And you, instead of praying for something for you, the prayer for other people to understand, have that understand. That's a beautiful thing, man.
Thank you, brother.
That's a beautiful thing.
Thank you.
Who could deny that? You know what I'm saying? And so when I saw that, I knew where you were coming from. I was like, I need to let him talk about that, because I am not one who I would say in the way of prayer. I wouldn't call it prayer. I meditate. There's types of meditation that are devoted. There's Tonglen. There's types of meditative practices that are devoted to relieving people of their suffering in that way of relating to what they're suffering from.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that you're able to see these things, right? It's almost like guiding people who cannot see, right?
Mm.
But then the question, then I used to spin my wheels over it, and I'm thinking, let me just flow with this. I'm thinking, have they chosen not to see, or they cannot really see?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, if I can't tell the difference between whether someone has chosen to not see or cannot see, then I need to focus and assume that everyone cannot see. I can't, because you'd be done like everybody can see that, right?
Yeah.
Because there are people who cannot see
Right.
something, and then you show them, and that's what enlightenment's all about. But
Mhm.
you'll never be able to enlighten everybody else.
Right.
You are. I'm sorry. It's just the way that it is.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the reality check. But we can damn sure try.
We can try.
We can try, absolutely. Track 23, Effortless He. This is a bonus track.
Yeah.
Title track of the album. And eye contact matters to me way more than double taps on a screen. I love this one.
Bar.
I love this bar. And eye contact eye contact matters to me way more than double taps on a screen.
That, like, every time I hear it, like, just even hearing you say that, I'm like, bro, that's a bar. Like, in my circle of friends who, like,
that is a bar,
right?
absolutely.
And, like,
that's why I brought it up.
Yeah,
like,
thank you for picking this
absolutely.
one, bro.
Oh my God, seriously.
Thank you for picking that one, because no, that's some real
I'm an
shit.
eye contact person through and
Same,
through.
like, and I've expressed this to you, like, even like being in the workplace or just being out in public. You know, people are so closed off.
Yeah, they are,
and
people,
they avoid.
They have, they do, and they've. A lot of times, I've seen people. I feel like they want to give eye contact, but they don't, and I think they're afraid.
They're if that's what I feel. I'm like, damn, they're afraid. Like, what am I putting out? Like, do I look?
It's not
do I have? I'm the devil.
It's not about what you're putting out. It's what they're afraid to connect. They're afraid to connect with someone.
And I honestly, I think that's why I'm still single. That's part of why I'm still single to this day, because I value that so much. I'm not getting that here today.
No,
I'm not really getting that from, people.
That's like that. Unfortunately, you're one of the special people like me. You talk about special needs. One of my special needs,
dude, I'm special needs.
Is the need for eye contact, right? Right, but it's a need for eye contact.
Yeah.
All that others. I mean, that to me, that is the most human way of. You could look at someone and you could not say anything in certain circumstances, and you could, like, okay, for like going to funerals. Going to funerals is always uncomfortable for people, and I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But all you need to do, and you don't need to say anything to that person, but you need to make some eye contact with them and then give them a hug.
Yeah.
You don't need to say anything. You make eye contact with them, and you alleviate some of their suffering by not only taking it in, but also saying, I see you as a person. I see your suffering, and I understand because I've suffered too and will again. We both will again and again. But at this moment, I'm here because you're suffering, and I want to let you know that I see you. There's nothing like suffering alone is very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even about people giving you anything, right? But like just looking at you. I think.
Yeah. So yeah, that line, that's where it comes from. It comes from just being so sick and tired. Like, there are people that I've worked with for almost 2 years who still avoid eye contact with me. Like, won't even give me the decency of acknowledging my presence when I walk into the room.
Right.
Be like, if I walk into the room and like everybody's in there, and I'm like wanting to say what's up to everybody, like I'm walking in the room, like, what's up, everybody?
It happens to me too.
There are people like, I would look at somebody for like 3 seconds, like, okay, are they gonna look this way so I can say what's up? And then they don't. I'm like, all right, whatever. Like, okay, this is what's going on today.
And let me tell you,
it's frustrating, honestly.
But
and you've helped me to like kind of let that go and just accept that.
Unpack the lyrics.
This one, we talked about this a lot. So the line is, this world, if I'm being honest, sometimes I want to leave it behind. But this is what I want to add to that, since we kind of had a discussion about that. So then when you leave something behind, right, you're moving You don't want to take the couch with you. You left it behind, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that always, leaving something behind implicitly implies you're going somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were to leave this world by whatever means you leave the world, by your own accord, and we could even discuss if a person really has a right to do that, you know, because I think it's really an emotional decision of other people, and I don't even want to get into that, but is this really my life? Can I control that? But if I've decided to, and I want to leave the world behind, where are we going? Like, where are we going in your mind? Because that phraseology says you're going somewhere.
Right. And like just to think deep into that, you could leave the world by just isolating yourself.
Oh, okay.
Right? Like I mean, for me, when I wrote it, I'm talking about ceasing to exist and, you know, just completely like checking out in this world.
And so what does that mean for you? Just blackness? Nothing. Just gone, nothing.
Just gone.
No afterlife.
Just, like completely free from suffering.
Would you have any self-awareness after you left this world behind?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I don't believe so. If reincarnation is real, that would be cool.
Right. I believe the same way that you do.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't.
And you know, and again, I think you're the same way. Is like I would never try to convince somebody of my position on the afterlife.
Yeah.
And whatever works for them.
Right.
But being, you know, knowing what I know about the human body, the mind, you know, I think of it like if you go under general anesthesia and you think that you're going to be like floating around on dream world and stuff like a mushroom trip, but it's like you go under, the next thing you open your eyes and it's like 4 hours had elapsed, you had surgery and you had no recollection, nothing, zero. And I didn't think that was possible to lose that amount of time. So that's the way that I see it, is that you cease to exist. Your ability to have awareness of your own existence is gone. So without awareness of your own existence itself doesn't exist. And then there was nothing. And there doesn't need to be nothing because there wasn't anything before it. I got something to lay on. I got to lay this on you right now because this came up the other night because I'm trying to get to I'm trying to get to sleep, right? And I was like, okay, so I ask Alexa questions, right? I do that. I don't know. I just ask them. Let me ask Alexa the question. You know, our Alexa is Ziggy, so it's like Ziggy. And it was hard to phrase the question. You know, asking the question is actually more.
Announcement is disabled on this device.
There goes Ziggy.
The communication setting in the Alexa.
See, I said, I'm sorry, stop. See, this will happen. It heard me. Oh, that's so funny. That's so funny. Okay. Sign of the times, right? But I said, how many people have lived and died on the earth up to this point? And I got these figures. And I just want to throw this in just to see what your reaction is to it. There are 7.9 billion people on Earth alive today, correct? Right now, the census, right? We know that 7.9 billion. Since the beginning of humanity, there's been 117 billion. The percentage of people that have been born and have lived on the Earth and still remain is 7%. 93% of people who were born on the earth have died. Wow. What do you do with that? What do you do with that?
Man, the earth's been here a long time. Jeez. And like,
right?
I still kind of marvel at that. Like, wow, we are here. Like, I got to put AirPods in my ear and then I'm like, hey Siri, next song. And then it's like next song. And I'm just like, what a time to be alive. Oh, look,
see,
there we go again.
They're always listening.
My bad.
They're always listening. It's all right because that's what happens. They are always listening. I do have. There's another track that I want to deal with in a verse from that track, and I love this one. This is a good happy feel in a way, or good feel. I like when vibration comes into play, but it says, "May the sound of my voice be the vibration of choice, tuning out the noise." I wanted to say noise. Tuning out the noise so it sounds rather noise. I like that. I love when people refer to vibrations, right? because what are you referring to in vibration, the use of the vibration?
Yeah, I think what we think becomes an emotion, and what we feel becomes a vibration, and then that vibration becomes like a manifestation. So vibration for me is something that can manifest itself in the physical world. Vibes, something that you feel. And may the sound of my voice be the vibration of choice, because there's there are people, like, I'm not gonna name any names.
No.
I'm not about to name drop and bash nobody.
No.
But yeah, there's just certain things, people that I refuse to listen to because of their vibration.
There are toxic vibrations floating through the sphere of vibrational energies.
Their vibrations just don't vibe with mine. But if you throw on like some Damian Marley, like, I like the sound of Damian Marley's voice. I like his I like what he puts out.
Right.
His vibration, that sits well with me, because there's healing in his voice. There's knowledge and wisdom, and there's therapy in it. So I'm just saying, simply, may my voice be that for other people.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a duality in the word vibration, right? Like, for me, I hear vibration and I immediately see wavelengths, probably because, when you edit sound and you see those you saw the waves, it's sound waves. The shorter the wave, the higher the pitch. The longer the wave, the deeper the pitch, right? And then there's sight. Wavelength of colors that hit your eye. Everything is waves, sound waves, light waves. It's all waves, and all waves have a vibrational energy. The faster it goes, it changes that vibrational energy. We take in the vibrational energy. Some vibrational energy feels better than others. Now, I'm simplifying it, of course.
Right.
There's vibrational energy that hits your eardrum, the tympanic membrane, that kind of makes it move like a drum being hit, right? But why? But there's certain vibrational energies that are just sound that make no sense, right? But then when you can actually extract the words, and then the words are words that are that give you unpleasant thoughts and unpleasant feelings, then that vibrational energy was just turned into something that your brain can comprehend all in just a second like that.
Yeah, and I'm a firm believer in, you are what you eat. You are what you consume.
You are, absolutely.
And so I'm very cognizant of the vibration I'll allow myself to consume.
Yes. Yeah.
But I believe you have to train yourself. You have to train your mind, your brain, and your ears to fight off those vibrations that do you no good. And so I've spent a lot of time training myself, because I've been in environments where, or even the worst, like if I'm the passenger in a car and I have no control over who's got the aux or who's connected to the Bluetooth, and they're just bumping that noise. I like to call it noise, because I'm just call it noise, because it's what it sounds like. It just sounds like noise.
It is noise. It's decipherable.
Word. And so I just tune that out. So that's the noise that I'm referring to, tuning out. I'm not allowing any of that negative.
That vibrational energy is helping that other person tune out from the world. They're tuning the world out.
Yeah.
With vibrations so loud they can't hear any other. When I think about avoiding that, we are it's like if you work in a sewer, you're going to take the time to put them big rubber boots onto your hips if you've got to walk around the sewer, or you're going to get shit on your legs. You can't just run out into the sewer and expect you're not going to get shit on your legs, right? So every day, people don't realize that. You have to make choices, somewhat unrelated, but related. Is I've decided, it's Labor Day, it's holiday. I'm like, what am I going to do with the rest of the year? Different.
Yeah.
It never has to be anything big, and people think it has to be big. Not a New Year's resolution. It's a Labor Day proclamation. And my Labor Day proclamation is I'm not going to listen to the news and read the news anymore. If something happens that I need to know about, somebody will tell me. I'll know. Every time I watch the news and listen to the news, it's violence, it's harm, it's destruction, and on and on and on and on, and then it's harder for me to go out into the world and put forth some optimistic viewpoint because I feel like I'm lying. So if I distance myself from that, it's not doing me any good. Who is it doing good? How is it doing anyone good for you to listen to something toxic that you don't want to listen to? The thing is, the sad thing is like some people, that's what they're listening to.
Right. And choose to and actually thrive on it, enjoy it, and I just can't function with it. And it's sad to say, like, some of those people are my friends and family, and like, but that's also why
that's their choice.
Yeah, but that's also like a contribution to why we are disconnected and why we don't why we don't spend enough time together, because our vibrations and our frequencies don't match.
You can't force it.
You can't force it. Like, I can't tell people like, hey, just read the 4 agreements and then we can be cool.
You can't do that. They're not
read Deepak and then like we'll be cool. You'll understand.
Well, that's funny that you said like, yeah. I would say like majority of the people that I've known over the years, and not the real close friends, but the people that I've known, the friendships did not last. The family connections didn't last because I continued to evolve and remove the toxicity, and some people are so attached to it they're never going to change. Yeah. You can really see that if you really want to see how that plays out. You can see how it plays out in people's diets over the course of their life. Yeah, because if I know someone who's in my age group, who's a middle-aged person rolling up and eating some McDonald's in their, but they got an expensive car, I'm like, where's your priorities? Because you're putting that, your body can't stand that, your ears, your mind can't, your ears and mind can't take that. If you are in social media, like I deleted Facebook, deleted Twitter, I kept Instagram, I'm still debatable on that, but I'm able to mute things and people that I was like, oh no, I don't, I immediately remove them, so all I get is what I want to get. And I think that take the time and effort to tailor it. It's almost like a diet, right? I found myself just like drinking the big gulps because that's on Instagram. I couldn't help it, right? As opposed to like turning big gulp off, right? Turning the machine off permanently. Yeah. Removing myself from that, even if the smallest thing. Why I'm not going to support anybody that is causing harm to other people. Verbal harm, abusive. And yeah, I understand intergenerational trauma. I do understand that. Yeah, absolutely. But I'm not a therapist and I can't jump in and help somebody right now. All I know is it's causing me harm. Right. It's drudging up things that I have been through that I have overcome, and I don't want to read about them and hear about them or have someone make a joke about them.
Absolutely. So I know what I have to offer. I know that my purpose is to be a guide, is to be a light, a beacon of light for others, because I've gone through things, and that light has brought me out of certain situations and it's helped me. But we all have our own, belief system, our own ethics, code of ethics, and all of that. And that's something I understand. But everything you just touched on, that's another thing that I pray we understand. So that's where that line comes from. Is just like, I pray that I can be, a voice, that people hear, and when they hear, like, it maybe it can spark some absolutely some kind of enlightenment. It can, and that may not change who they are in that moment, but maybe it'll lead them down a better path. Yeah. A more positive path.
Subconsciously. And you know what? Like, sometimes it takes 27 matches to start a fire, not just one. People light a match and it doesn't start, and they give up. And we, people like us, we can never give up trying to help people see the light. Even if it's blinding them, you will help them see it. I do have a final question for you that I think is a good way to end this. And the question is this: do you think life will ever make sense? And that's in response to something in one of your songs as well.
Still trying to make it make sense.
Again, because the thing is like, I always wanted to die. I wanted, like, every time I read something, I wanted to talk to you about it, like, immediately. Like, oh, let's talk about it right now. But that one came to mind, and I was
still trying to make it make sense. Yeah, I know that line. That's from Onwards and Upwards too.
Right.
No, I don't think so. Like, for me.
So then, and agree. I agree. I'm with you on that. And so then I ask you this: then how do you think it's challenging then to try to make sense of it, even though you'll never make sense of it.
Do I think it's did you say meaningful?
Do you think that's wasted effort?
Wasted effort.
When you know it's not going to make sense, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And but I think that line comes from
I'm looking like crazy trying to find this glass.
Your glass. Yeah, where'd you put it? On the ground right behind you? Right there, brother.
Okay.
Yeah. Making sense of my own life and where I'm at.
Yeah, your own life.
Yeah, my own
There's
life.
There's the tilt right there, man.
Right.
There's the shift right there. You're not going to be ever able to make sense, but you know what? You can create the sense of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's more where I was going with that.
Got it.
With that thought in that line.
Yeah.
But like life itself is like, nah. You can't really make sense of that.
No, don't spend time doing that.
Right.
Don't spend time looking at other people's grocery carts and wondering why the fuck they're buying this X, Y, and Z. They should be getting that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's funny. I'll go to Trader Joe and I'm grabbing all these plantain chips, and I'm right next. Like, this lady's got a cart under it, but I'm like kind of reaching over and I'm like, doop, doop, doop. I don't care what anyone thinks. I'm like, yeah, these are my chips. Like, I'm not worried about what you got. Hey, don't worry about what I got.
Exactly. If people would just focus on how they can make their lives benefit other people, and and accept comfort and discomfort, and get your own shit together, really get your own life together. And once you got that, it doesn't. You can try to help people along, but don't get dissuaded by what other people are doing.
Yeah.
If again, I my wheels have been turning for decades, always trying to help people and never not knowing if it does happen, if you did. But then when you see them years ago, sometimes you get like you run into them and they really remember you, like that happens to me. And I was like, what? And I think that many will remember you in a very positive light.
I appreciate you, brother, for saying that, man.
Long beyond your life, man.
I love you, bro.
I love you too, man.
Yeah, man. This has been dope. I actually got a question for you.
Yeah.
Bro.
Oh, you got a question for me?
Yeah. You listened to the album. You read all the lyrics, like 10,000 words of lyrics in that 75-page PDF. What is your favorite song or favorite song?
Oh my gosh. Oh man, let me see.
Which ones do you think you like?
It's funny because remember I had mentioned there were a couple songs you had shared with me previously.
Yeah.
So those kind of felt like an old friend visiting.
Mm-hmm.
They felt like an old friend visiting. One that immediately comes to mind, I know you're gonna help me with it, is there's the Akello one.
Okay.
Where
No Mercy?
Yeah, No Mercy. Like I just didn't even know like where is this coming from? Like talk about like an interlude.
Dude.
And I felt like it was improvised. It just happened. You're sitting, some of us creatives will sit in front of a computer with a microphone or a mouse and it just kind of happens and we just say, what the fuck? This is some cool shit.
No Mercy. If I can expand on that for a second.
Let me do my thing and then go right back to that if
all
you
right,
can. Just real quick because I'll forget.
Yeah, no worries. No worries.
I really, obviously I like Onwards and Upwards because of that poetic expression. I thought the You Free Tonight, I thought that was like light and airy. And anyone that articulates in a way that's not like I love non-toxic masculinity, you know what I'm saying? Instead of like come over here, bitch, it's like I'm free tonight. Come on, let's do it right. It's like this.
Hey,
and you know what the other thing?
What you doing?
But I'm gonna tell you. Let me tell you the way my mind. And of course, I This World, that one too. And I think when Billy Scott came in too, I was like, oh shit, I remember this. I'm glad it was on there because it kind of went away and I wasn't able to grab it. But there was and I love all this stuff and I could probably take hours going through it again and again. But I'm telling you what immediately. I love the beat on Effortless He, which is also the beat on Hello, as you have told me. But there was one, because you know how I am about like repetition, and I know I said I hate lots of repetition.
Yeah.
But you can pull it off though. You can pull it off, and not everybody can pull it off. there were oh gosh, what does this say? There's okay.
Is it freedom?
This is look.
Look.
There's one. Okay.
Look.
Since
And real quick, Look was supposed to have a feature. I sent Look to 3 different artists. 2 artists got back to me. Shout out to those artists, Sean B. Chillin and Comic Calevra, and then my cousin in Endless Flows. I never got anything back from Endless Flows, but Comic Calevra and Sean B. Chillin definitely sent me something back, and they were good. They were great. It just didn't go with the aesthetic of what I was going for the album, so I just decided to go in a different route. Simply put.
Got you. Oh yeah, that's a story right there.
Yeah.
I
just want people to know, like, it's never personal. If you do send me a feature and I don't use it, it's like, it sometimes, like my old college professor said, like it's not whether it's good or bad, it's if it works or if it doesn't, and it just didn't work for me. So
no, it just doesn't work. That's all it is.
I went a different route. Yeah.
Well, there's a part where you talk about I come from a place where they ball around you, and if you ain't balling, they talk about you, call you a bum, and then laugh if you don't have nothing to flash. And when I read it, I put the force of the other is indeed strong, but not impenetrable. But back over here is look at the way I do my thing. You can see that it's different. I don't like to follow. I stay in my own lane. Don't worry about anything. Look, my potential is limitless. Look at me, vigilant, diligent. Might go down as one remembered as he that made them all ridiculously hideous. Look at the way I talk or walk. Look at the way I talk. Look at the way I ball. Don't call me Chris Paul. Nah, I ain't looking at y'all. Y'all ain't looking like God. Y'all be looking like frauds. I was like, okay, you know what I'm saying? I just love the idea of articulating your individuality so you can remember it. Oh, and what you know, I put right here. Opening verse, man. I know we back to verses, but yeah. Said, this is so fucking relatable and such a vibe for self-introspection. That's what I put in the beginning. It says, yeah. And of course it's going to sound different, but this is my reading though. Yeah, what you know about knowledge, what you know about life, huh? What you know about needs, know about me, what you know about strife, huh? What you know about light, what you know about team, what you know about pride, huh? What you know about deeds, know about dreams, know about mine, huh? What you know about it. I love that. It's like, that's like, get the fuck out of my life. Like, what, yeah. You don't know shit about the level of my multidimensionality. Mm-hmm. In essence, sometimes we have the restraint because we know that's the way to think, but sometimes like enough, I gotta tell this person. You know, it's like when sometimes you gotta flip somebody off when they cut you off. I can't be namaste. I know you didn't mean to cut me off. You're like, you cut me off. That's just like, what you know about me? Yeah. I'm gonna check somebody. What you know, maybe next time they try to check somebody or come at somebody funny, they might start thinking about those things.
Yeah. I
love that. I love the way that flow. I don't know. I know it sounds completely different, but when I read it, you know, again, I'm going from reading and then I listened to it and I was like, oh, he could take something that I read in a clumsy fashion because I didn't write it. And I think you're like me, like if I write it, I can say it, but if someone else writes it, it's a little bit hard. The flow's a little different, isn't it? Yeah. And you make your own shit, so you're gonna say it the way you want it. Yeah. Probably before you even write it, it's set in your head, right?
Definitely. I'm glad you I'm glad you took the time to do this, bro, and like listen to the album. Yeah, I like Look, and I like What You Know. What You Know came a little later too, and that was actually gonna have a feature as well. Oh, I just never got anything back from the other artists. Didn't need shout out to them too though, but
even though you got people to feature and people can't feature, I get it, but like you didn't, it was not necessary.
Right,
like,
right.
That amount of people is not necessary.
Right.
And like you said, when it's meant to be, it's meant to be, and it flows effortlessly.
Exactly.
And the effortlessness of being able to collaborate with people really is the key. It's not who they are.
Yeah.
Because be careful who you bring in to the human cave, because it could cause more problems. You know, it could actually detract from the creative process.
Word.
And so you have to be very careful who you invite into the cave, who you feed vegan burrito or vegan tacos. Be very selective, right? It doesn't mean that you think you're any better than anybody. It just means that my life has been over trusting people because I want to, you know, I'm open and now I have to be more discerning. It doesn't mean, you know, like I don't have empathy. It just means my empathy got a little bit too broad to the point where it caused me harm, right? And I think a lot of people have experienced that. That's why they're not making eye contact. Because people have harmed them so much, they don't want to let anybody in at all, not even for a second, not even for a minute. Because it reminds them of what they probably want more than anything is connection with other people.
It's connection, brother.
Yeah.
Well said, man.
That's a good way to end it, don't you
Yeah,
think?
definitely, man.
September 8th, Effortless He, all streaming platforms. And we're going to put this video up and, like, think about some shit, man. Think about the lyrics.
Please.
Too. Think about the lyrics. You could be bumping in your car and thinking about the lyrics simultaneously and using that turn signal. That's all I ask. That's all I ask. Well, we in the same studio, just so y'all know.
Hey.
We in the same studio, man.
What up?
We tricked you.
Diontae, man.
Trickery. Diontae Simpson.
Effortless He.
Effortless He.
September 8th. You know, I just hope
Take
all
a
you
listen.
guys take a listen to it, bro.
Alone again, I'm so over this. Feel like I wanna quit, even though I can. I know I can't.